I fucking love YouTube. Okay, don't get me wrong. I know I complain about YouTube a lot, but that passion I had ever since I began content creation has never really gone away. Sure, I'll take a few months off, but at the end of the day, I'll always post a new video. Unlike television, YouTube doesn't have people looking over your shoulder. There's no filter you have to go through. It's really just a bunch of people making a bunch of stuff. And it has fostered a whole generation of video content. Sorry, just didn't want to go on another poetic rant. But the fact is, in my opinion, that spectacular thing that YouTube has been fostering is slowly dying. In simple terms, there's no you in YouTube anymore. And there's probably a lot of people already saying that. But I choose to be optimistic, but hey, my optimism isn't totally unfounded. What I want to talk about today is a creator who continued that age-old tradition of YouTube being whatever you want it to be. A creator who defies all established genres and a creator who is very near and dear to our hearts. This video is about Cr1TiKaL, YouTube's last creator. Cr1TiKaL, Charlie, or Moist okay, there's a lot of fucking names he goes by, is a YouTuber that posts on the channel named Penguin0. To describe what his content is pretty difficult. I mean, for fuck's sakes. When I asked around with friends, even we couldn't pinpoint what category he would go in. But as I said in the beginning, he's a creator that truly does defy genres. However, from my big brain, I can best describe as a combination of comedic gaming, storytime vlogs, commentary, and whatever you can best describe carrying around a giant 36-inch dildo. But let's take a step back a bit, and let's talk about YouTube a bit more. For quite a while now, I've been noticing something on YouTube. The production value is going up, and in all honesty, for a while, I didn't see this as a bad thing. Quite the opposite, actually. But as I witnessed this constant growth, I started missing this thing that these older videos had. And that thing is the creativity. But don't get me wrong, a great production is amazing. Nerd City is a great example of fantastic production, which is one of the reasons why I'm a huge fan of his work. The chaos that is an average 2-man video adds a spectacular egg to trends that we haven't seen in years. But with all that being said, there's also something incredibly comforting about having a guy who just talks. There's nothing on its own that's incredibly amazing. It's just that Cr1TiKaL is just an entertaining guy. But I don't want to go without saying that there's pretty incredible things that he's done. If you guys didn't know, for a long period of time, Charlie would donate 100% of his YouTube earnings to charity.
But recently I thought, what if I did get YouTube partnership or partnership with something else and give 100% of the profits to different charities? I would keep nothing and give it all to charity, so that way I could help people and still do this for fun.
I mean, fuck guys, think about this. Here you have is a platform dominated by go-lucky vloggers. All these videos where every minute detail is squeaky clean family vlogger who constantly talk about being a good person, whatever the fuck that means. And yet the only guy who can claim who has donated 100% of his earnings is the one swearing like a sailor and making crude sex jokes. The reason I point this out is not to suck Charlie's dick, I just want to point out what kind of person he actually is. And I think this is a very good example that would highlight that. Cr1TiKaL, while far from being the best producer on YouTube, he's proved time and time again that he just loves making videos. He doesn't do it for the money or the influence, he just genuinely does it because he loves making videos. And it's this love for making videos that allows him to continue being this driving force for creative, underground content. Hear me out. Is Cr1TiKaL driving around on his Moby huge motorcycle the most complex content? No, absolutely not. But is it original and something you can't find anywhere else? Yes. There was a time on YouTube where this was what YouTube was. It was a constant race to see who can carve out their own niche first. It wasn't until gaming and Let's Play started dominating the scene that the idea of a video game genre started becoming a thing. Now you can just skip the originality in general and just pick from what genre you want to be part of. Let me ask you a question. What separates your Let's Play channel from somebody like PewDiePie or Markiplier? Well, let's see. I have a border around my face cam. Well, I add subtitles to my videos to make them look really pretty. Well, hey, look, I do motion keyframing to add more expression into my videos. Or hey, let's take something more familiar, the commentary side of YouTube. What separates your commentary channel from everyone else's? I have a very fancy, well-placed visuals that make it look really pretty. Oh, well, I use a face cam so I can add more expression into my videos. Well, I milk the dream and jelly bean drama until the last fucking drop. And yet, the one Let's Player or commentator or whatever the fuck you want to dub him who does none of that is the one who's chugging strong today. And that's because through it all, we all went to Cr1TiKaL's channel because we knew what to expect. We expected the provocative humor, the dirty jokes, and we didn't want Charlie to get a professional setup and a nice face cam because at the end of the day, we just wanted Charlie. I want to make it clear that I don't think this increase in production is inherently a bad thing. I just don't want it to dominate every YouTuber's idea of what good content is. I mean, we already have a source of video that's perfectly cleaned up for your consumption. Jimmy Kimmel. Every talk show is nearly identical. Every news show is nearly identical. Because speaking from experience, the broadcast industry has devised all of these formats that everyone will eat up. There's no producer in history that has ever come up with a show where the host just sits down, plays video games, and says dirty jokes. The entire time, yet, not only did Charlie do it, but he found success. And perhaps even if it's accidental, that should make him kind of a genius. What is innovation if it's not creating creative and successful content? Cr1TiKaL is YouTube's last creator because he's the only guy that comes to mind that is continuing the trend that made YouTube so successful in the first place. Why did the group of people who made shoddy videos in their bedroom with their handheld camcorder become the content producers of a generation? It's because we were at the point where we were seeing the strings that exist behind the television. With the internet bringing streamable TV and bringing out binge culture, good examples being HBO Max or Netflix, it just became really transparent. Everything that goes on behind a show, and hey, feel free to disagree, but from the way I see it, you can see the trends. You can see how it's written, you can see the repetition, and I'm sure it doesn't take a professional to see this. I mean, for fuck's sakes, even an idiot like me can recognize it. Yet, on YouTube, none of these formats existed, and they still no longer exist. Well, to a point. I've always said that I don't understand mainstream YouTube. It clearly has some sort of appeal, otherwise it wouldn't be popular. But as I said, I could never enjoy it. And even though I've tried, I've always stuck with underground content creators. And I think this is why. Because what we've seen is those exact formats being created for YouTube. There are now structures in place that are designed to get more views. These are the trends you hear so much about. At the end of the day, views are what YouTubers want. Fuck. I can pretend to be the saint in front of you, but the truth is, even I'm like this. I could lie and say that I don't want to make money from this channel, but the truth is, I love creating the content I make, and I don't want to change it. But the truth is, if I had the opportunity to make a significant amount of money, I would take it. As much love I have for this platform, I can never do what Cr1TiKaL did. I mean, theoretically, of course, I could make content such as his, but realistically, I couldn't. Because I'm not as innovative as Charlie. I don't have that level of love to what I do to keep pushing and gain nothing from it. I don't have the confidence to experiment like he does. Search engine optimization is a thought that goes through my head quite a bit. And to be honest, I don't have that skill set to just be entertaining. And so I covered it up with my production skills. I make the nice background. I pay for the fancy character stills to establish a brand. I edit my videos to make them look nice. And I write scripts just to make sure what I'm saying holds some kind of weight. Charlie, at the end of the day, is just an entertaining dude. And it's precisely why he has massed over 10 million people to his channel. Critical constantly uploads. Critical has nothing to hide. Critical shares his life with his audience in full, and not some fake life that these trendy vloggers are trying to sell to kids. He shared his real life. He shares his love for anime and games. He shares his embarrassing experiences. He shares the embarrassing stuff that he's done. He shares the things that all of us have, and it's the reason why YouTube took off in the first place. When YouTube started, we wanted to see a window into other people's lives. Not the fake celebrity lives, but the real lives. Of all the video essays I've done on creators, Critical has probably been the hardest to write about. I mean, how can you conceptualize the quantity of entertainment that comes from a guy telling penis jokes over some video games? What I've realized is there's just no way to do it. Not everything on YouTube is something that you can overanalyze, and that's precisely what makes Critical so special. It's simple, it's honest, and yet it's incredibly effective. There's nothing below the surface that complicates his content, and it's important for YouTube to have that figure that leans that particular way. Critical, in my opinion, is a monument to creative video making. In the last 15 years, he's never stopped being that monument that has remained to be YouTube's last and true creator. Subscribe to the channel.
I don't deserve